You think about songs you love, man. Like when the music's good, you can just sit there and groove and it feels good. And I can listen to that song over and over on repeat. If the song is bad, bro, change it. Change that song. It sucks. And so it happens. A lot of people are living in a life where the rhythm is like a bad song or like a 10-year-old with a new drum set. It just banging on things. It's all over the place. There's no rhythm and it's just, And so they never get to that rhythm of being able to take the things they buy or even stuff they already know and do it at a consistent level that makes their life sing, man. So I help people make it happen by getting them into what I call like a success rhythm, where yes, it's a higher tempo and sometimes it's a couple more instruments of new information, but dude, once you get that, it's like living in a life that's just an amazing, beautiful song.
What's up? Welcome back to Your Visionary Podcast. I'm your host, Visionary CJ, also known as Christian Brown. I want to welcome you to my show, to my podcast, and welcome you to a very cool episode. I'm super excited about this. It's always cool when you get to just have conversations with people whose stories have, changed your life in a way and just helped you to become a better person. This person has definitely done that for me. And so I want to give you a quick bio of who he is. His name is Anthony Trucks. If you haven't heard of him, he's a founder of Identity Shift. And Identity Shift is a company with one focus: to take back control of one's life by closing one's identity gap, reaching one's full potential, and making shift happen. Through years of research, experimentation, self-reflection, and sometimes by accident, Anthony learned how to master the shifts that life threw at him. And after growing up in the foster care system, Anthony was able to achieve the following: a college football scholarship, an NFL athlete for the Buccaneers, Redskins, and Steelers. He was an American Ninja Warrior and the first NFL athlete to hit a buzzer. He was featured on 6 national TV brands, a 7-figure gym owner, 6-figure consultant, international keynote speaker, and he's happily married to his high school sweetheart. He's a father to 3 amazing kids, just an overall amazing brother. So with that being said, I want to welcome my guy, Anthony, on. Brother, how are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing? It always is weird when I hear the bio read about me. Because it's like, people gotta put a face. Who is that guy? And this is me. I'm just a guy here. But no, man, I tell people at this point, man, I'm a regular guy, but I have an irregular desire to help people. Yeah.
And you have an amazing story. Like when I first heard it, I think I told you, I heard your story on the Born to Impact podcast. And I think that podcast was with Joel Marion. Yeah, he's dope. It was like a 2.5-hour podcast, split in 2 parts. And I listened to the whole.
And it was the first time I flew out there and to a podcast like my capacity. He's like, hey, just tell your story. I'm like, how long we got? He's like, just tell your story. So I just went. And like we're about an hour and a half in and we're like halfway through. He's like, bro, keep talking. We'll split it into 2. So yeah, it was long.
Yeah, so it was dope. So definitely I recommend everyone to go check that out. Born to Impact podcast. It was an amazing episode. And so since we don't have the 2.5 hours, I want to make this, super valuable for the audience and give them some real practical steps that they can take away and implement into their life immediately. And I know your company is called Identity Shift. And kind of the slogan is make shift happen. Yep. Right. And so I want you to talk about a little bit about what that means to you.
To me, man, it's about making what it sounds like remove the F and you'll know what it means, right? The idea is it's supposed to make something special happen. I think in life we have these lives where people need to experience certain emotions. We need to experience excitement and vibrancy and this, like power in some capacity. And if you live a life that's mediocre or small or, just you don't have a job you don't love and you just feel like, you'll seek that excitement somewhere. And it's usually not in good things. Like you said, I was running the streets and doing crazies. When you remove the basketball thing, it's like, what else brings me excitement? And I got to find it. Yeah. And so for me, it's like, how can I make shift happen? But the shift word of it is like shifting into a higher version of you, right? And it's not from a philosophical, like part of it is, but not the spiritual philosophical, like genuinely, how do I shift the way that I show up in the world, the way that I work, the way that I perceive situations, the way that I, tackle things, take opportunities on, you're doing entrepreneurship. How do I take on the next level of my life and have fun and experience it at an exciting level? So when I work with people, man, what it means to me, it's making that magical thing happen for your life that at one point in time you thought was impossible, but now is a reality. There's ways that we work through getting people there, But that's always the goal. And it can be in literally any way you want. I mean, I got people that we work on their relationships and marriage. We got things where people come in, they just want to get in better shape. Some people want to build businesses. And it's not, people think it's a strategy, and it's not for me a strategy thing. It's not like, here's the 7-step process to launch your podcast. Like, it's there. You can Google that thing right now. The thing is, a lot of people, I think we're in this pandemic or epidemic of self-esteem, where I got this book and information and I put it on the shelf, and everybody's doing that. If you look at any courses or programs, 97% of them go unfinished. So it's not the information, it's this epidemic of I'm gonna buy things. And we need more people to understand, how do I apply things? Don't just buy, apply. And what that is, it's how do I get people into a rhythm of doing it? Because a lot of people, man, they got all this great information, great heart, great passion. And what it boils down to is like they don't have the structure of life to read the book that they bought. Like literally, if they wanted to, I got work and I got this, I take my kids here, and they're out of whack. And what I really call the identity concept, when we work in it's rhythm, man. It's you think about songs you love, man. Like when the music's good, you can just sit there and groove and it feels good. And I can listen to that song over and over on repeat. If the song is bad, bro, change it. Change that song. It sucks. And so it happens. A lot of people are living in a life where the rhythm is like a bad song, or like a 10-year-old with a new drum set. It just banging on things. It's all over the place. There's no rhythm, and it's just And so they never get to that rhythm of being able to take the things they buy or even stuff they already know and do it at a consistent level that makes their life sing, man. So I help people make it happen by getting them into what I call like a success rhythm, where yes, it's a higher tempo, and sometimes it's a couple more instruments of new information. But dude, once you get that, it's like living in a life that's just an amazing, beautiful song.
Yeah, man, I love that, and so many gems there, man. I love how you just reference rhythm and just how our life should be in rhythm. And I hear a term used a lot called just being in the flow.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, it sounds right. It sounds like the exact same thing. And just like, yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, and that was cool, brother. But I was going to say, man, it kind of, just to shine a light on most of the people that are following this podcast. They're in their kind of early 20s, mid 20s, maybe even later, right? But in a position where it's like, okay, I'm a full adult now. I'm supposed to get into adulting, but how do I kind of create a life that I'm going to enjoy? Especially with things going wrong, man. It's kind of like, a lot of people are experiencing that bad song right now, and it's like you want to switch the station, but it's like there's kind of a disbelief that if you switch the station, you'll end up out on the street.
Yeah,
right.
What it feels like, I'm sure for a lot of people. It's different times. What's crazy about it. But here's what I will tell you. Is you're always being something. Like flow is different. Like I could be in flow in a game, or like you could be in a game, right? That kind of flow. But like when I say rhythm, I want to be a little bit deeper in a sense of like how do I handle if somebody cuts me off in the street? How do I handle that? If I make a bunch of money, how do I handle that? How do I look at the world? Where do I see opportunity that most people see as a fear or opposition? Like there's certain things. But for me, man, when I look at where people are at right now, it's like this whole concept of like, who are we becoming? Right now, there's people. This is what happens if you look at psychosocial studies and Erik Erikson. There's like this level of stage called role versus identity confusion, right? And it's this or sorry, identity versus role confusion. And we at this age, you guys this age, you're coming into this world, coming out of college, and there's now this identity of who I think I am, but there's a confusion of my role in the world. Like, do I get a job? Do I take something on? Like, how does this all work? Oh, did I lose you? Am I on a lot? Are you still there?
I'm sorry.
Where did he go? But the concept of like that, we don't know where we're at and where we stand, and so it's literally this confusion. And so, what people need to realize is you're still the same person, but the role you have to play may adjust. And I'm really big at having people look at two things. One is, who have you become to now? Right, there's a person you are, and the who you currently are right now is going to be the person you have to look at, because the way you got to this person was by being somebody. This being is an action, right? How I exercise, I don't exercise, how I show up in certain ways, whatever it might be. You've been being somebody, and that being somebody became this person that has what I have in life. I have my friends, I have my degree, that's what I have because of how it's being now. What do you want? If I want a better job, I want a better relationship, I want to make more money. Well, you have to become someone who has that. I got to become that person. Like you can't all of a sudden be who you are and have that thing, or you'd already have that thing. So the idea is like, how do I become well? You're going to have to be somebody. So the being is now the focus. The being should be like, well, who am I being? Am I being the person that does drugs? Am I being the person that gets my workout in? Am I being the person that is on time and prompt and punctual and progressive and professional? Or am I being the person that's just lethargic and lazy and shows up with a bad attitude? Who are you being? Because that being every day, damn it, you're becoming someone. The person you become has the things that you have or you don't have.
Yeah, I love that. And then what would you say are some, I guess, baby steps to take to kind of make that identity shift happen? Say if you're starting, day one is tomorrow, it's like, what is one thing that you can implement into your life every day to help you, have a more positive or become more of the person that you want to be?
So we do something called the shift method. It's actually a very specific process, and it's a lot of work that we dig deep into the human and like really unpack you. But what it really boils down to is we want people to do something every day to shift. And it's actually an acronym, and it's a set of actions you do, SHIFT. And there's a lot of work behind the scenes, but you can just take it at face value and actually get some benefit. So the S is start right. Most people have no routine. There's no intro to their day. So they honestly start the day behind the ball, and they're at the whim of the world. So now if my alarm goes off and I got to go to this job, and my boss has me do this, and they woke up out of whack. They have no control over where they're progressing. Therefore, they can't even think about thinking how they're going to go through the day. So they're just off right. So I start right. Get a routine, man. I don't care if it's getting up 15 minutes early, you stretch out, roll around on the ground, listen to a little audio book while you're doing it, something. Start with some control. You got to control your controllables so you actually have some confidence in your ability to make an adjustment if you choose, right? So start right. 8 is take a healthy activity in some capacity. There's something to improving your health that improves your mentality, your psyche. When I'm doing something that, I skip that bad meal. So, and I'm not saying you got to go and do a crazy workout every day. Maybe today, as opposed to eating out 3 times a day, you eat out 2, adjust it a little bit. You take an activity and do something that puts you in a position of being healthier physically. So you actually are healthier mentally. The I is choose every day an imperative activity. Like, what is the specific thing that you've got to do? Like, imperative. And I mean, you got to set up what's my vision? What's my dream? What's my goal? And there's always going to be something you can do every day towards it. The worst part's when people wake up a week from now and they're like, damn, I didn't do anything to get into that right direction. I just wasted this week, right? So think about it every day. What's that one? You could have multiple things you do, but what's that one, Then the F is, where have you found joy? Like, most people go through life doing things they hate doing and continue hate doing them. And then eventually they stop doing it. Like, this happens for work. People hate their jobs. So eventually they leave their job, right? Or I hate this woman, leave this woman, right? And reality is it's not all going to be, butterflies and roses and rainbows, man. Like, there's going to be some things that suck, but you got to find joy in it. Like, my wife has me do handyman stuff for her all the time, and I don't always enjoy doing it, like at her businesses, but I will find. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to have to go there and be there for 30 minutes painting this wall or fixing this thing. But what if I put on like a cool audiobook I've been wanting to listen to? Okay, cool. I get my audiobook done while I'm doing that. Okay, cool. I found joy in the moment. So now what happens is I can fall in love with the day, not just the destination. And when you fall in love with the day, you arrive at your destination far more often and in a better mood, right? If I show up to a place and even if it's beautiful, I'm in a crappy mood, I don't enjoy it. But if I enjoyed the process, if I get to that place and it's subpar, I'm still happy. Hey, this wasn't the greatest, but I still love, man, it was a cool trip to get here, right? It happens. And then the last part's what's called a tree task. And for me, is a whole process on we break down core parts of who you are. There's always some part of the core of who we are that if we were to like try to improve that area, whether it's relationships or your friends, your family, your health, your emotions, your career, your finances, your education, your escape, or your purpose, your lift, in all those areas, we can base off, this, we can do a number we attach to it. But I can say, if I was to do one thing in 30 days, or at some point this time, that can improve this by one notch, right? What would that be? Family, maybe it's going to be call my siblings. I'm going to call a different sibling once a day or once, every day throughout the week. I'm going to hit them up. Or maybe it's going to be for friendships. I'm going to go in and, have Friendsgiving or something this year. Whatever it is you choose. And find what you do, and then every day do one of those tasks in those areas. You don't do all 10, you just do one of the 10, and over time it becomes normal. So if you do this every day, SHIFT, rock and roll with it, you will shift, man. Like, we have an app we're building that helps people be able to visually see this. But the idea, you just do these simple things, this forces you into a different rhythm, a different tick. And if you've planned properly prior to leading up to what you're doing in that day, because that's the big thing. I'm thinking about who I'm being, not just doing things because to do them. After a while, man, it's like you wake up at one point, you look back and go, holy crap, I'm a different dude. I'm a different girl. And that's what we want. Because when you have that realization, it all of a sudden lands on your heart. It's a different sense of, oh, I'm dope. I love me. Like, and it's a whole different kind of transition. But every day, shift every single day.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one thing that I've been noticing just from, some of my friends, that self-love piece is not there. That's why I think we see just a lot of depression, in this new generation. Of course, most of it is from social media, but social media is just causing that comparison, the comparison that leads to you not loving who you are. And I've had so many conversations about that. And it's one of the reasons why I like doing this podcast. I'm able to just, hear from people and kind of hear their pain points and what they're going through. And, there's one thing in particular I want to ask you about. It's centered around like the friendships and relationships piece, because, relationships are super important. As you know, like that cliche quote, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And one of the issues that I'm seeing with some of my peers are that they feel like they don't fully know themselves. So they believe that they can't build strong relationships.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause you can't show up for somebody else if you can't show up for yourself first.
Yeah. So exactly. So what would you say about that? Like, building strong relationships if you're still figuring yourself out?
Yeah, well, I think there's a couple ways to do this. One is you just transparent with people. Like, look, I'm still trying to figure out who I am, what I like, what I do. So I'm going to mold. And if you have the right people that love you, it's not about loving what it is you're doing, but loving who you are. And when they love who you are and you let them in on the kind of the process, they support it, right? And don't get me wrong, sometimes you may do some stuff out of whack and they'll call you on it. Let them call you on it, right? Select the right people. But what's cool is it's as you go through the journey of finding yourself, and that really comes down to things that you do that you just gauge and measure. I'm going to do this thing and see if I like it, see if it's in line with me, see if it talks to my heart a little bit, see if it hits the head. If it's something that I like doing, I'm going to do this. Maybe, to be honest, I am in a world now that I never even knew existed a decade ago. Quite literally, never. I didn't even know about this space that I now will probably end up retiring, leaving a massive legacy. I was just playing football, or at this point, man, I was running a fitness business a decade ago. I'm getting old. Wow. And so the reality is, like, things will change and you'll change with them. But you can't sit there and say, I'm trying to find myself, but not do the action of finding yourself. It's like saying, I'm going to find my keys. Well, why are you still sitting in that chair? I don't know, but I want to find my key. Well, get up and find the damn keys. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to go. The idea would be to get up and find yourself. Do things like sample life, like a sampler platter at I don't know, Olive Garden, bro. Go figure out what's out there. And then as you're doing that, here's what you will find. Sometimes the people that the relationships in your life, you will realize they aren't the relationships that are there forever. They're not supposed to be. They don't grow with you. That's okay. You will find that as you grow into the person and the stage you're supposed to, you bring new people into the world. There's new individuals that fill spaces other people used to. And that's all right, man. Doesn't mean you're a bad human. Doesn't mean that you don't love that person. It just means that in the stage you're trying to progress to, you need different company. And that's okay. So if you can embrace that fact and realize it's a reality for it, then it's okay to go into that space, meet new people, have a new friend, have a new colleague. It's part of life, man. There's far more humans than the 5 that you've known since high school, Go engage and embrace that part too.
Yeah, and that's like a hard pill to swallow, having to realize that everybody's not meant to go with you along the journey. And it's funny because my mom always kind of spoke this into my life. She said, it's from the Bible. She said, your gift will make room for you and put you in front of great men. And it's been proven true, as I've just been, evolving in my life and having to get rid of some friendships. I'm realizing that the new ones, are here for a reason. And it's just something that I have to learn with as I grow, which is just a good lesson.
You'll figure it out. That I also find too is as I do this thing where I have conversations with people. I did this years ago when I was getting rid of friends, we'll call it. And I didn't want to get rid of them because that's a hard thing, is to make an action and be like, hey, bro, you can't be around. That's really hard. It's tough to do. I was like, how can I navigate this in a way that isn't so weird and negative? And I realized I can have a conversation and say, look, hey, I want to go to this place in my life. I want to make more money. I want to be whatever. And look, I want you to be there with me. And if you're going to be there, here's what I need you to do. I need you to be more supportive. I need you to stop smoking weed. I need you to come catch workouts with me. Look, this is what I want. Now, if you can't do it, I get it. I can't run your life, but realize that like I need that person. If you can't be that person, that's great, but that'll be your choice to do that. I want you here, but if you can't do it's got to be done, I can't have you around. Now what happens is you've given this person the ability to improve their life. And if they choose not to, it's not on you. Just don't engage anymore. You don't have to call them and say, don't call me. They'll stop calling you and you stop calling them, and it's a smooth separation, but at least you gave them space to where you don't have to walk away guilty. You said what you had to say. You did your thing. If they didn't want to level up just yet, that's great. But here's the cool thing. Sometimes they'll go out, they'll do their thing, and they'll come circling back as a better human. And then you actually have that person you wanted. But it's really hard to be pulling a dead weight, man. Sometimes you gotta let that weight go, and then you do your thing, and then maybe all of a sudden that thing is rolling downhill towards you.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. I love that, and man, I just thank you again, bro. You gave so much valuable advice, from the SHIFT acronym, that method, and then you just applying the action steps into your life every day. And then even this piece of advice on relationships, it's been super valuable. And I want to kind of give you the opportunity to just tell people where they can find you, where they can get connected with you. I know you're offering coaching, so kind of talk about that, how to get access to you.
Yeah, man. Best place to go is just go to, honestly, just Anthony Trucks on Instagram or go to anthonytrucks.com. And I do coaching at a high level. Like we have a lot of, higher tier individuals. However, I've decided that I'm creating a program / process through this app that allows people to have access to this without having to be able to, have to pay the whole crazy fee. It's like college kids can use this. It'd be amazing as a tool without having to have all the back end coaching. It'll be a great resource for them. So there's most definitely some things we're doing, but if people want to know information, or hey, maybe you don't want any coaching, you just want to hang around with me and just listen to what I say, by all means, follow me. I post stuff consistently with the team. One of the big pieces of the business that we'll call the flywheel of what I do is content. I love creating messages and sharing things that are free just to serve the world that, that people can hear and listen to that I may never even know in my lifetime, but they'll know me.
Yeah. And one thing you're doing right now is going live on, I'm watching on LinkedIn, but going live every day. I've been tuning into that. And so that's been awesome.
Friday, baby. I get in there. Yeah.
and that's valuable right there. So I'm sure that's on like Facebook too. Where else are you going live?
Yeah, so I use StreamYard like you do, and I go on my Facebook page, profile, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and then I put my Instagram up on my phone up on a tripod next to the camera. So we rock, bro. We're all over the place.
There it is. So, man, this is awesome. And thank you again, bro. And that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in to Your Visionary Podcast. Peace and love, everybody. Hey, guys. Thanks for watching this video. If you'd like to see more, click the videos next to me or visit yourvisionarypodcast.com. I also offer one-on-one coaching on topics of business, personal power, and positivity. If that interests you, head over to mymentor.life/Christian Brown. I hope to hear from you soon. Peace and love.